Hi, I'm Chris Remboldt. Welcome to the pilot episode of Build the Culture. Now, the reason I'm creating this series is to have a candid conversation about the current pace of technological change and have a discussion around how that will affect people psychologically, mentally, and if I dare say, spiritually, and where we're going to go as a species. Because if you look at graphs of change, things like how many transistors can fit on a computer chip is one graph that's really going to the moon, as they say. Another graph that's changing rapidly is how much it costs to produce batteries and solar panels. That cost is going down very rapidly. Other things that are going through exponential change are like the cost of sequencing someone's DNA. So finding out the code that describes that human and all the genes that are in that DNA is getting less and less expensive. Used to be, I believe, over $1 billion, and just a few decades later, it's under $100 to get your DNA sequenced. Other things that are happening, we're seeing extremely rapid advances in artificial intelligence, and AI is such a buzzword, but it's really much more nuanced than just some sort of creature that's in a machine that could take over the world and destroy us all. There's a lot more nuance to it than that, but it should still certainly be a concern for us as a species. Now, here at Build the Culture, I want to help walk us through these things. I believe that my ability to describe things and get a concept across is something that I should use because I study this stuff a lot. I study genomics, which is to do with genetic editing, etc. I study artificial intelligence. I study next generation transportation, and I study lots of things like robotics and brain-computer interfaces, brain-machine interfaces, things like that. Now, those are areas where we're seeing rapid change. Just like the internet when it arrived and changed everybody's lives in the 90s and 2000s, these things will have a similar grade of impact. It's almost like in 10 years from now, the world that we are in will be so different from what it is right now in 2021. It's possible it'll be almost unrecognizable. And I am optimistic that the changes that occur will be beneficial for humans. In fact, I think that it's the only logical way to proceed is to be optimistic and to affect things as they happen in a positive way. Now, we know for almost a certainty that artificial intelligence is coming. That's leading to something that people that study the topic call the singularity. A singularity is another word for a black hole, which is a supermassive piece of matter that's out there in the universe, often at the center of a galaxy, beyond which we really don't know what's going on. And that's the point of the term singularity. It's something that's insanely powerful, and beyond the singularity, we have no idea what's going to happen. So that's where all these exponential graphs are pointing. They're pointing towards some sort of change that we don't really know what it's going to be, but we're beginning to be able to potentially predict some of that. So for today's episode, I would like to talk about something that excites me greatly, and that is the possibility of having robots as part of our lives. I believe that, have you seen any of the Boston Dynamics videos? Boston Dynamics is a robotics company. They created videos of four-legged and two-legged robots doing a dance number, and it went viral recently here in the last few months. We're in March 2021 now. I think it was in January perhaps. But that was all based on motion capture. So those robots doing those dances, that was created by humans doing those dances, and then that being translated into what the robot did. So the robot can't actually think for itself yet. But as AI and deep learning get better, those robots will not need a human motion capture to do things. They will not need necessarily direct programming to go about a task. We will be able to give them a general idea of what we want them to do. For example, go to the store and buy the groceries on my grocery list. That will, I believe, be a task which a robot will be able to do within the next 10 years. And that will be based on artificial intelligence, deep learning, and a good, reliable, high-speed internet connection. Because all that processing that's going on with the robot, some of it might take place in the cloud, so to speak. So robots, I think, will become more and more prevalent as batteries get better. That's one reason that I predict that robots will be a significant societal event, kind of like the internet, though not nearly as big, frankly, at least not at first, where the batteries are good enough for your robot to actually go on a grocery run for you, pick up your groceries, come back, still have 75% battery charge left over, and go about washing the dishes for you and cleaning up the house, etc. I think, in fact, that robots will get so good at things that it's possible that they will be able to just work for you. So say you wanted to start, I don't know, let's think of something that's like a pretty manual job. Let's say you wanted to start a business mowing lawns. Well, if the AI is good enough and the robot is dexterous enough and, of course, durable enough, well, it could go operate a lawn mowing business for you. It could go be pretty much all kinds of trades and services for you. So the cost of buying your robot could be offset by the payments that you could receive by having it go do jobs for people like that. And that's one small example of how things will sort of enter into a post-scarcity world here over the next decade, where things start to cost less and things start to be more abundant. So if you could pay $400 a month to have a high-end robot do things for you, as well as hire it out to do things for other people, you could probably actually make a profit on that. You could generate some income by it. And why wouldn't you get some more robotic help as well to do other things, make more income doing that? It sounds wild, but that's the point of this Build the Culture series. We'll be talking about things where it sounds insane, but that's the point of the singularity. The graphs are all pointing in the direction of vast technological change. It's almost like we were born at the climax of the movie, if humanity was a movie, and we're seeing all the crazy things that happens towards the end of the movie. Let's hope there's a sequel. Of course, I believe there will be one. But robotics will become prevalent because it will be cheaper to build high-quality batteries. The batteries will last longer on a charge, and they will charge faster. Now, that will lead to a lot of additional electrical consumption on the grid, charging all these machines. And the decreasing cost of building a solar wind battery power plant indicates, it predicts by its own graphs of decreasing costs, that it will be the prevalent source of electricity by 2030. In fact, by 2030, the costs of solar and batteries will reduce by approximately 70 to 80% if you just look at their predictable cost decline that's happening right now. 10 years ago, they were 70 to 80% more expensive than they are now, too. So it's just a continuation of that same graph. But that's my prediction for today for this pilot episode of Build the Culture. We will have robotic servants that will be able to do all kinds of interesting things, bring in income for us, and this will all be based on improved deep learning and AI so that it can act autonomously without direct input, and better battery technology. And now you might be thinking, well, Chris, you sound all excited, but to me that sounds like a Terminator. It sounds like something that could be a killing machine just as much as a helping machine. And that is absolutely true. And that is why it is important that you and I have an input on how this stuff goes down. There should be ethical rules around how the artificial intelligence is created, how the deep learning is utilized around the acceptable uses of robots. So it's time for us all to get involved, because the future is changing so fast and with such momentum that we need as many people paying attention and caring and helping shape how this turns out as possible. That's why I'm making these videos. I think that it is so important that we take a hands-on approach to how things are happening right now, that if we don't, we may not get a sequel. There may not be a Humanity 2.0 after the Singularity. There are so many opportunities for mistakes, so many opportunities for things to go off the rails really, really fast and very, very badly, that we need all of humanity caring. But I think if there's enough of us that care about how the change is happening and are channeling it into positive directions, that we have a chance. Now, make no mistake, the Singularity is coming. It has too much momentum. There's no way that any one of us can stop AI or genetic editing or all the other crazy things that are happening right now. But we can influence it. So use your influence. Wherever you are, use your influence. Find your best self. Become your best self. Do the personal development necessary to be less anxious, be less stressful, be more loving, so that your impact on the world is a good thing. Your choices that direct the changing future are positive. I think this is crucial. I'm Chris Remboldt. Thank you so much for watching Build the Culture. I will have people in here to speak with me about these topics, so it won't just be me in the future. We have some really cool things that are available here in the studio. This is the Hit Lab, which is a studio in Nashville. It is freaking awesome, and we can do all kinds of stuff. Like, there's some interview chairs, right? Pretty cool. Another angle on it. I can even pull up the screen of the computer here. So, got some really cool stuff in the works. If you would like to come into the studio here on the south side of Nashville and discuss some of these things with me, let's shape the culture that we will become. Let's have a positive impact on it. Let's not be passive about the technological change that is occurring. Let's play the game. I love you all. I'm Chris Remboldt. Spread love, spread joy, spread positivity wherever you are. Have a good one.